To start out, we'll go with the Sony hand. This is much harder when it's not scripted. I want to talk about 5 tools that either you may already own, you might find somewhere around the house, or maybe you'll keep an eye out for moving forward. To start out, we'll go with the Sony Handycam camcorder that will just be fun to record with, kind of take the seriousness out of documenting, and yeah, it's just a blast to use. So lately I've been getting back into old technology. This is a 14-year-old Sony Handycam, one of the last of the DCR era, and I have to say it's pretty cool. This easy to use, just get out there and press record ordeal, and this might just be the way to go for many. Not to mention they're now available in 4K. It's also just the softness it gives on a lot of its images. For some reason, a lot of the new cameras and smartphones just come off a bit too harsh, and nowadays things that feel a little bit more natural.
So while we're discussing items that we actually use to document our lives, I want to talk about my N75 Nikon film camera. And this thing I purchased because my son was being born and I wanted to have this heirloom item that I could pass down to them once my time has come. And it was also about holding on to like something physical, with all of the noise of data centers and data storage and the cost that fluctuates with just maintaining, access to your own information. I just wanted to move in a more analog route and store it for free in my own house. And so I keep everything over here, separated, where I can always have them print it if I want to, but I can also just have control over my own content. The other thing about film is you really have to be consistent. You have to stick to it because you don't get to see your photos until possibly weeks or months after you shot a photo. And so being able to have a local darkroom that I can drop off the film here in Charlotte is awesome. And that's going to be key and getting better. But yes, I absolutely love the images that this thing puts out. I took it to the birth of my son and got some incredible photos that I'll always have with me. So I would suggest everyone have some type of film camera. It doesn't have to be this. Also have this buddy that I haven't developed yet, and so I just kind of have it around. Needed to drop that off too, but just something where you can physically have those photos or the scans themselves to always have with you. My iPod Classic, this was something that my mother-in-law found that used to be my wife's, and it was interesting to see the music she listened to at that time. And it's 30 gigabytes. It's enough for what I need it for. I probably definitely will be buying like the 120 or 160 gig. I can even see myself buying some of the modded versions that you see out there because there's just something about having a music player that is just music. That is all it's for. No frills, great music quality, and fits in your pocket. And so this is also a sentimental item for me because this was like the first thing I had to keep up with when I was in high school. So I had the iPod Nano, I had the 2 gigabyte, I got upgraded to the, I think, 4 gigabyte Nano, and then I got upgraded to the Classic, and I just really love that thing. I lost it eventually as I got older, and I always missed it. So having this one here kind of just always ensures I have music with me. Another music item is this radio and cassette player. And a cassette player might be something that maybe you're like, there's so many other ways to consume music, right? But this is very sentimental to me because my grandmother, she's 84, she gave me this box of cassettes. And as I was going through them, I saw my dad's name written on one of them. And I'm 30 6, and I have not heard my dad's voice since I was 8 years old when he passed away. And so I've seen him sing and, things like that, but just listening to him talk, after all these years was something that I just have been removed from. And so I recall growing up, him recording this tape for my grandmother for Mother's Day. And this was the tape. And I didn't know it until I bought this from a vinyl shop in Richmond and press play. I probably would have waited and found something of higher quality, like a Sony Walkman or something, but I was just so desperate to hear my dad's voice. And when I pressed play on it, I was just that kid again. I went right back to that moment of listening to him rehearse over and over. And he prays over my grandmother and he talks about us and how thankful he is to have us. And it was just a very emotional thing to hear directly from him. So I keep this player as something to play that cassette whenever I need to hear it. And also public radio and things like that. It runs on batteries. So yeah, a cassette player is definitely something I would say just kind of keep on you. I did start buying cassettes as well. Like I like the SOS band. A lot of their material is only on vinyl and cassette. And so whenever I'll find it, I'll just buy it. And I bought a cassette from them and now I'll be able to play it. My car also has cassette player. I have a 1998 Volvo V70, so cassettes are not as crazy as you might think. The last item that I want to talk about is my vinyl player. I am a avid vinyl collector. It is an expensive hobby, so I don't buy as many. I even owned a record shop at one point, just bringing in used records and curating a collection that consisted mostly of new soul records like, The Sacred Souls and the Monophonics and a lot of the psychedelic soul music that you hear today. And when I had a plant shop, I would actually bring in some of these artists and we did pretty well for ourselves. And so my vinyl player is definitely something that I also just love. It is from U-Turn. It is U-Turn Orbit and it's made here in the US. Very solid, came assembled, and it's been kind of my go-to and my first record player. So I always recommend it to everyone. I know there's some classics out there like the LP 120, but I cannot say enough good things about it. It comes with an amplifier, and so you have some flexibility on how you want to have it set up. And so definitely look into U-Turn if you are in the market for a new vinyl player. Those are the things that I would say have really changed my outlook on low tech and analog items. Things that I feel very close to, not just from the nostalgia, but for the fact that it wasn't trying to do everything. It was just trying to do one thing really great. And I can appreciate that. And I think as we continue to look into things that give us joy and bring us back to happier times, I think finding those items that we can just focus on and sit in. I throw a record on and, I might read a book or I might have coffee, but the item is doing the thing that I want it to do and it's doing it really well. And I think the same could be said about, my tape player or, my iPod. I'm able to just sit and use that tool as it was designed to be used. And so, if you like content like this and that really talks about simple living and items that aren't so cluttered with, again, bloatware or features you don't need, or finding things that will do the job. There's items out there that's certainly worth the item's cost or price tag, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't spend your money there. I'm just saying that consider some alternatives. So until next time, peace.